This is Short Pants Free Radio. Gamers, get your ears on because we're blowing the speakers out.
Grimdark Live. It is time for Grimdark Live. This show is for the nerds, the outcasts, the weirdos.
And for short pants gamers?
No, not you.
Ah, crap.
Get ready, all you Grimdark goons, for dice, dragons, demons, and a dwarf. Only right here on Grimdark Live.
Let's hit the fucking road!
Happy Tuesday, you bunch of dice chucking, glue sniffing gamer goons. Welcome back to Grimdark Live. We're going to be talking about tournaments and other stuff. I'm sure some mild pervertal topics are going to be coming up. And perverted. What did I say?
Pervertal.
I had a burp. All right, I've been drinking. No, we're going to be talking about that and some other stuff. But Bill, Dustin, what do you hear? What do you say, man?
An Irishman who drinks? No. Nonsense.
We're pretty pervertal over here.
Although one of my
I have a joke on that. I have a joke on that Irish drinking.
One of my favorite facts ever.
See, I'm not bald. Go ahead.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe after this joke. But there's like a 300-year span where Ireland didn't invent anything. It's like from 1300 to 1600. It says literally invention of whiskey.
Yes.
And for 300 years.
Yeah.
No inventions.
They often said the reason why God allowed the Irish to invent whiskey so that we wouldn't take over the world.
Yeah, makes sense.
You know what? For all the angry stuff about the British, I have been watching this History of Wales lately.
Oh,
And,
like, are you talking about fat girls at a beach?
On a slow Wednesday, yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
But right now we're talking about History of Wales, the country.
Got it.
Okay.
So,
Right.
you would be surprised how many Irish kings there were because the Irish used to raid across the sea into Wales.
Oh.
Really?
A lot of like the Kingdom of
Interesting.
Gwynedd was held by the Irish for over 300 years.
I heard a crazy saying once. It said that there are no Irish names, only sons of kings. Whatever that means.
Makes
Anyway,
sense.
but I got a better
It
joke.
sounds like some Beyonce, we were all kings and queens bullshit.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, no, let's forget I said that.
Yeah,
Forget it
back
completely.
that up
Forget
right
it.
now.
Let's get back to the topic. So we're going to be talking about tournaments. You guys just got back from a little RTT.
Cataclysm.
Yep.
In
A shameless
McChesney,
shameless
Illinois.
plug here for Cataclysm Games.
Cataclysm Games.
Cataclysm Games, awesome. Check it out whenever you can. 8 miles
McChesney
north
Park, right?
of
Yeah.
Rockford,
McChesney
Illinois, in
Park.
Yeah.
McChesney Park.
Yeah, very cool. Well, you know what? It's interesting to me because I've never been to the store up there. And let's not blow our wads here right away, here, guys. Let's save it for a little bit in the show. But
And
I've
what's
heard
that under the table?
I've heard what's going on. I've heard that it's a great store.
Yeah.
Like
Excellent store.
I've never been there, but I've heard it's a great store.
I wish I actually had more time to just peruse. Cause they,
peruse.
Yes.
I didn't know you spoke French, but perusing
Yes.
or browsing. Is there a difference? What's the difference between perusing and browsing?
Perusing is very eccentric when you have to go through the house.
Were you perusing?
Americans
Oh,
browse.
lovely.
What-
Perusing, yes.
What are you doing here? We're just browsing.
Yeah, I'm browsing. And Bill's over here. I'm just
Browsing.
fucking around. I don't know.
I don't sound like that.
They-
No, what do you mean? I don't sound like that.
they sold me with the bits table.
Oh yeah.
They
Well,
literally had a whole
I
table
can't tell. I
where
do.
you can just like stick a cup in there and just that's what you get. You pay.
it's just
X
bits.
amount for
You fill up a
bits.
cup and that's it.
Yeah,
Now,
I
can
was-
you while you're browsing or perusing, can you sift through the bits?
I don't know. I didn't stay long enough because I walked around and made sure I had stuff.
Now,
ready for
interesting
it,
little
so.
point I want to bring up. Now, you didn't play the guy, but you encountered a mild short pants story. Some dude in a black coat you talked about.
Oh, he definitely had a.
And he showed up a little bit of, I would be surprised, because those bits tables are just full of contaminants and you could kill like a small Amazon basin village with the amount of just germs that are in that bits table.
Yes.
And this guy wasn't playing because
He wasn't even
we're
playing.
all going to die. It's like Armageddon all over the place. He's ready to die any minute, right? I mean,
He was upset that somebody described my beard as being Matt Walsh-like, and he about threw up right there.
I mean, he has a pretty good beard though.
it is a damn nice beard. Regardless whatever your politics are, it's a damn nice beard.
Yeah.
And I will say that whatever side you lean, I'm right now a little to the left, but
Stroke it to the right. Stroke it to the right.
but yeah, so I did laugh at that. Okay, that was a cheap shot at that thing, but fucking
It is upsetting. I didn't even know there was a bits box. The problem was, like I get so focused down in the tournament, like I'm just excited to play and go through it.
Yeah,
I get blinders on for my table.
That was the problem. Is like I could have gotten lost in the weeds in that store, and I didn't want tournament to start without me. So I was just kind of like taking a quick glance. All right, let me go hang out by my stuff.
Yeah,
sure.
The Bohemian Gypsy and me saw the clearance section, but
yes.
I just couldn't drag myself over there because of the tournament.
So, but so this was an RTT. How many people are at the RTT?
I was 20
or 21, one of the two.
Okay, and I got to be honest with you. Even though we run Brawl in the Hall, which is a 2-day 5-game event that sponsors our USO, formerly known as Armed Forces Day.
Yeah, it was 20 people.
I really like and I used to go to a lot of RTTs. And I used to subscribe to that old-timer gamer adage of where you played in 3 to 4 RTTs a year and 1 GT or major GT a year. Mm-hmm. And there's just something about RTTs that I've always really liked.
Well, they're a lot less pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, again, no judgment at all, but a bunch of guys didn't even have painted bottles, but you know what? Who cares? They were there to play. You know
what I went to one time, and it was one of the funnest tournaments, and I can't remember the name of it, but I was always calling it like a rough and ready tournament, where you just, as long as the models are built and based correctly, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The sad thing is, at the end of the day, this whole game is based on dice rolls and base size. That's it.
Right.
So, height sometimes, because it depends on the terrain, but now they streamlined a lot of the terrain. Height doesn't matter as much.
Right.
As long as line of sight.
But yeah, I mean, it was, I had a great time. I had 3 great opponents. I went 1 and 2 because, my dice being what they are, nothing was different there, so.
Sure. But your dice, I mean, and Bill, you know this, we're all in the same gaming club. His dice are the strangest fucking thing ever on the planet of dice.
It is bewildering how many 1s and 2s Dustin can throw.
But then how many 5s and 6s?
Right.
Speaking of that,
it's a land.
Have you ever rolled a 4 or a 3? No.
So, okay. So, I have never failed so many prayers ever. Like, it was...
I knew a few girls that told me the same story.
Yes.
They failed a lot.
You beat me to the midget age.
That's
what I was going to say. He was praying for. It never happened.
The amount of 1s I rolled when trying to chant prayers with my hag queens.
Right.
Well, you know what though? Now, because with any army, can you bank prayers now? I never used priests. So
priests. Yeah, you can.
I guess technically, then, even with your 1s and 2s, you can at least bank them now.
Well,
right.
Here's
which I do love that rule, by the way.
I've never
love it.
The problem is, usually the lowest I would roll on a prayer chant would be a 2, so you at least get some points. But
who's that savage?
You roll a 1, you lose D3 chanting points, which okay.
Oh,
great.
that's a fact. Oh, I see. I didn't know that.
Now you don't take a mortal wound anymore. That used to be what would normally happen is my hag queens would pray and spill the blood out of their cup and inflict a mortal wound on themselves because Marathi Kane was watching them. So. That's usually what would happen. Instead, it's just like, hey, I'm going to roll 1, not have any chanting points.
Right.
Especially when I'm trying to jazz my prayers up.
No, I do like that rule. I like that prayer rule that you can stack you can stack them. I like that. And we got Sean on the chats, man. He's listening while he's driving his car home. Normal. I wonder if he's doing it sober. No, man. Be careful on your way home. Thanks for listening, Sean.
Yeah, definitely safe travels.
Yeah.
I didn't know they let rabid raccoons drive.
Oh, you know what? And they do. They do. I was pretty impressed. He's our red tit coonhound, man.
He's driving to get away from the, the New York government.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
The
Hokel camp.
Yeah.
Right. But all right, back to the topic.
Hokel.
We are talking tournaments tonight, and I know that, as I said, these two gentlemen here with me. I use that fucking term lightly. Just got back from an RTT just outside of Rockford, Illinois, McChesney Park. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that. And we're going to be talking about tournaments in general because there's a couple of things that I kind of have, rolling around in my mind. And I know it's a dangerous place. When I say I got a thought in my mind, that's somewhere between my ass hurts in this chair and let's go fuck the waitress. So somewhere between there, I have to try to really determine what I really want to say. And but I can say that there's a lot going on that seems to be kind of edging its way in to we got your topic and your topic about the tournaments. Tournaments in general, right? RTTs versus GTs, and then this Adepticon thing. I kind of want to hear everyone bitch like I do here a little bit about the fact that they moved Adepticon to Milwaukee from Chicago, or was it started out in Downers Grove, Then it was in Schaumburg
for a very long time.
for a very long time.
Very long time.
And now they moved it to Milwaukee. Now, here's the thing. This is one man's opinion here, and maybe I have it on a pretty good take here, but they didn't move because of fucking space. The Schaumburg Convention Center is massive. They weren't, where are you going to go next? To Taj Mahal? I mean, they're
always follow the money.
No, I'll tell you exactly what happened. Just like what happened in. Let's just say. All right, I'm not going to say it. I can't.
You can't start with let's just say I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
You can't tease us like
you know
that.
what? Let's just say it was a. Let's just say it was probably a forced move. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
I don't believe you. I believe the next hall was cheaper.
Well, obviously, you're getting out of the communist USSR of Illinois. You're getting out of here. Of course, it's going to be that's going to be a lot cheaper. But
Governor Glutos has
this whole
removed
thing,
us.
when they come out and they're like, we wanted more space. You fucking liar! You didn't want more space. It had nothing to do with that. I guarantee you, the square footage of that place is no bigger than what they had.
Yeah.
Okay, cost might have been also,
Sure.
but it also could have been the fact that imagine the cleanup that has to happen after you've got 2 million gamer funk nerds sliming up the fucking carpeting for 4 days.
Gamer funk nerd.
Who are you gonna call?
And not to mention,
Slimer got us.
Not to mention, half these people they get out of their basement for the first time. They're gnawing on cold meatloaf. They're living in their stepdad's basement, yelling at their mother of why she ever left her dad in the first place, or the second dad, or maybe she went and moved in with someone like that. And now they're living there. They're all pissed off. They don't know how to act in society. They get out, and the first thing they do is they find a bottle of wild turkey, and they go out and they get fucked up and they ruin something. When I went to Adepticon one year, this was a true story. I walked in there with my son. And we were walking through, and this was in the Chicago Convention. We were walking through the main hall there.
Okay, I think
and
I
you know the story.
I think
So
I know
we're
the
walking
story.
through, and all of a sudden, I see they got this. It's probably a 48-inch base, a 48-inch pot, like a plant on the inside of the building.
A mall pot?
And
Yes.
yeah, well, not quite a mall pot. And I see the shrubbery of the plant moving a little
Shrubbery.
bit, and I'm like, there's shrubbery. So I perused over.
Yes.
And I was a little bit like,
word.
what the hell is going on over there? It was a gamer dork puking in the and I thought to myself, great. Stanley doesn't know how to live life out in the world.
Yes.
And he gets out for the first time every year. This is his big annual vacation, and he shits the bed. And now he's puking in the pot. And the hotels look at that.
He shit the bed, he shit the plant.
Yeah, and
At
now
least
you
he made it to the
and
plant.
you
He did
know
make it to the plant.
Yes,
to the
well,
plant, though.
they're responsible. And somewhere those hotels were like, yeah, I don't know that
We
we
don't
want
wanna
this
deal
on a
with
large
this,
scale because you know that.
I know, but here's the thing. I don't believe that about the hotel for one reason why. I played billiards for years. I played in the APA League 8-ball. Nobody drinks like billiard players. Like, say what you want about gamers.
Fine.
We're talking about professional alcoholics
But-
that
time out.
puke everywhere.
There's a difference between billiards players who, for the most part, know the smell of pussy. They've been out into the world and they understand how things conjecture,
to
right?
be fair, a lot of them probably
Bars,
are
all that
prostitutes,
kind of
yeah.
stuff. Look, I love this community, but let's call a spade here, man. A third of this community, they don't get out much. And they get out, and all of a sudden, they implode. And God love them for it, because, this is their time to live.
It's like the Amish
Yes.
Rumspringa.
Yeah, and the thing is, so I mean, there is a difference, but we're going to talk about that. I'd like to kind of talk about that a little bit more as far as Adepticon moving up to Milwaukee. How do we feel about that? Are we going to go? What do we think? Because for us here in just outside of Chicago, it's what, an hour and a half. It's 2 hours away. We're
It's
not.
not bad.
If you leave at the right
45
time,
minutes.
it's 45 minutes.
45 minutes to
break a
Charlotte.
few laws,
Nice.
sure.
Yeah.
That was nice. But,
And I just think that for me, Adepticon is always that weird thing with me. And again, I'm not motherfucking it, but I'm going to motherfuck it a little bit, or at least that's what it's going to be perceived, and I give a fuck about that. But Adepticon for me was always one of those. Every time I went there and I played for a lot of years in Adepticon. I played for a lot of years. I always thought to myself, I never left there quite satisfied. Two things I always noticed. Whenever I'd leave, and I'd have a lot of people share my same sentiment, why did I just pay all that money to play a game I can typically play for free?
yeah.
I never really got a good gaming experience out of it. Number one.
That's why I don't mind paying for a high ticket, especially when they say it's for charity. Totally
Right.
cool.
Sure.
Shop costs, then charity.
Sure.
Understandable.
Right.
Pay people for their time, make a little bit of money for your shop, charity donation.
Sure.
Cool.
And then number
Totally
two, day two, It's a fucking ghost town.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
everybody
nobody
that
is there.
lost leaves, right?
Yeah, I want to say 2/3 just don't show back up.
Yep.
And so for me, it's like, I don't know. At least I hope the guy from Toledo, the Bits guy, is going to be there, because that'd probably be the only reason I'd make that drive. And done.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see myself playing in either.
Lou Malnati's.
In Milwaukee?
No, not in Milwaukee.
Oh, you're talking about, no, I'm talking about if I,
Schaumburg, like-
Milwaukee, yeah. I mean,
going to Milwaukee.
Yeah. That's the other thing, too. They ruined the Lou Malnati's tradition, the bastards. Well, what are you going to do now? Rocky Rococos? Ugh, fuck that.
I guess we at least go to the Harley Museum. Like men.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But
Ride
no,
the
I mean,
Harley to the Harley Museum.
so okay, so I'm
what
getting
time
off
it
my
is.
soapbox now. What do you guys think about Adepticon leaving its home that it's been at for,
Yeah.
I want to say 20 plus years?
Yeah,
Whatever it
I've
is,
only been-
it's close to that if it's not that.
I've only been to Adepticon 2 times. It was earlier this year and last year.
Mhm.
I had fun, but also having it be 45 minutes away. I didn't have to get a hotel or anything to stay up there. It was cool, but also, why am I paying to basically play in a tournament that I could just do at our home?
Why? Well, yeah. Why do you want to play? You're, and here's the thing too. And I don't want to knock it, because I'm sure. I mean, people go there, right, because they don't get to see people. There's some people that go there. They make an annual trek, 'cause they don't get to see some people for a year. I get all that.
It's the Midwest Chicago pilgrimage for gamers.
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
we will.
Right.
The vendor hall is mind-blowing. That's actually probably my favorite part about it. I was able to get one of the last Forge World Slaanesh Greater Demons that exists.
Right.
Because GW had them there.
Right.
And like finding those little, those little magical, like, oh my gosh, it's this thing that, is like impossible to order.
And
or it's rare, or you can't get it anymore.
It's kind of not to harp on motorcycles. It's kind of like going to a swap meet and finding that one part for that ancient bike you're working
Right.
on.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's like, I don't know. I think that that Adepticon going to Milwaukee, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a Chicago snob here, and I got nothing against Milwaukee. It's a fine town, but I don't know. It was kind of our thing for the longest time. And going to Milwaukee, and here's the thing: it's a Games Workshop sponsored event. But here's the thing: little news flash. It's kind of always been sponsored by Games Workshop, because when Games Workshop, and for a lot of you younger gamers that don't know this. Here, old Uncle Nasty here is going to tell you a story around the campfire as we sit here roasting our weenies. The fact is that they gave them $40,000 to start their tournament when Games Workshop was doing Games Day. So it's not like, oh, they're sponsoring it now. No, they just got more involved.
Yeah.
It was always a thing.
Yeah.
It was always a thing. Why do you think other companies like Mantic and BattleTech and all these other companies, are not as prolific in that tournament scene as Games Workshop is? Well, because, it's a golden rule. The person with the gold makes the rules.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know if that was part of the change or what it is, but I can tell you right now, the stuff that I read on the boards as far as, they went there because of room.
No.
Nah, it has nothing to do with room. They either couldn't go back to the Schaumburg Civic Center, or the price was. I mean, here's the thing though, I don't know what I heard something on the boards that tickets are going for like $65 a person, minus the entry fee. Well, to play in the 1v1 or something like that, the championships.
Like half the shows, like if you go to the comic book show or like the tattoo festival, that's all at the Rosemont Center.
Yeah.
That'd be a fair trade there. That's an excellent space.
Right. Well, I mean, think about it this way. Could you imagine if the San Diego Comic-Con, now California's pretty expensive, could you imagine if the San Diego Comic-Con just went, nah, we're going to go to Duluth, Minnesota.
Right, yeah.
Because of cost? It's retarded. But whatever, you know what I mean. To each their own. I mean that's what they're going to do. But yeah. So I'm going to kind of all right. So I kind of took it over. So that's your point of view on the whole. So does it even matter to you? Do you give a shit that it went to Milwaukee?
Yes and no. It bothers me because 45 minutes was really easy. I was able to carpool. I was able to go home afterwards and not have to get a hotel. Having a big tournament like that 45 minutes away was awesome.
Right.
because then if it's a couple hours away, then it's like, all right, we're gonna coordinate, we're gonna carpool with a bunch of people, maybe we'll get a hotel, whatever. That's a completely different thing than just being able to drive there and go home at the end of the day. So that part is kind of what upsets me.
Right.
But also, it's kind of been Chicago's thing for a very long time. So that was kind of like, Milwaukee, okay, great.
Right.
But now it's kind of like, instead of it basically being, I'm automatically going to go to Adepticon every year, because I enjoyed it the past 2 years. Now it's, okay, we'll think about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are your thoughts?
There's a dozen different Chicago suburbs with dozens and dozens of event centers that would have been way more adequate. Like you said, to keep it in the heart of the Midwest, which is Chicago. Again, Milwaukee, awesome town, but not the same.
No.
Right. It's not the same.
Not the same.
No, it's not. It's not. All right, man. We're gonna be
considered the Rosemont Center because it's got the walkway over the road. You got the hotel right there, all the bars and restaurants, the mall.
Yeah.
Wait, and again, it's right off of 294. It's easy from Milwaukee. It's only about a 45-minute ride.
Right.
Yeah.
Could have been better for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? But I don't know. To me, it really kind of. I mean, I was already kind of on the fence, anyways. I didn't play last year just because of some personal issues and all that kind of stuff. But I was actually considering on going this year with the club, making it a point to go there, maybe do teams, or I don't know that I would do both championships and teams. But when I heard it went to Milwaukee, I was like, pass.
Yeah.
Just. I knew right then and there, I don't care.
Yeah, because we had past 2 years we've done the team tournament, and we've had a couple guys do the singles, for AOS, and we've had great fun. And now it's kind of like, all right, well, who wants to go now?
Right.
Right. I mean, maybe, but still, it's not a automatic. All right, yeah, we're gonna go. Instead of now, it's maybe.
True.
And now it's a meh.
Right. We're going to do a little bit of a blast from the past here. This was asked by one of our club mates to replay this. And, Sean, you were part of this, you bastard, so listen up to this one. We're going to come right back, and we're going to talk about tournaments, RTTs, GTs, the tournament that these guys just got back from, and I'm sure a few dirty jokes. All right.
Oh, boy, I tell you, I was a little concerned, especially because the color was off.
Oh, I know, right?
But with that, with that, we've got the rumor engine and the question of the day. So we got a lot of good stuff we're going to be going through today on the show. But guys, as many of you heard at the top of the show, our co-host and dear friend Randy is unable to make it this evening. Often you may have heard us say many times that Randy is the nicest guy in tabletop gaming. His generosity and kindness doesn't stop at the tabletop. No, it extends to his main career as a male stripper. He was famous for his stage name as the Long Dong Ranger, and it is with great concern that we here at Grimdark Live report that while he was performing his famous Idaho silver routine, he was injured. The third cartwheel that he performed, he slipped and he fell on his stunt midget. It is with great luck that Randy survived this perilous stunt. We believe that it was the amount of glitter and whipped cream all over the stage made for unsafe twerking conditions. We were lucky to have this photo of the incident after it occurred just outside of Cupid's Warehouse Bar and Grill. And the stunt midget, however, he didn't make it. There is a funeral arrangement currently being made for, as we all affectionately knew him on a stage name, Mr. Giggleberries. Services will be held at Our Lady of the Worthless Miracle in Spanish Fork, Utah. The Mormon community is just devastated. So we really hope a speedy recovery for our great friend Randy. Many of you knew him as Long Dong Ranger. So let's hope he makes a speedy recovery.
In case you didn't notice, he has the best front butt in the business.
I tell you what, Randy, we're all, as they say in the community, buddy, we're behind you, sweetie. All right.
It wasn't even that. His car broke down.
So
I think I'm killing Steve.
So,
all right, tournaments. That's what we're going to talk about. So let's start kind of high level. And for anyone out there that thinks we were beating the shit out of Adepticon, we kind of were, but. It wasn't the best. I mean, it was a great ensemble. I'll put it that way as far as games.
It wasn't the best of cons. It was the adept of cons.
Right. Exactly. So let's get into this. I mean, you guys just got back from an RTT. I personally love RTTs. I like RTTs. What's that?
RTT is a lot of fun.
Yeah. I personally, overall, I'm just not like a hypocrite here because, Brawl in the Hall, we run a 2-day tournament, 5 games. But there's something about RTTs I actually like better. My personal opinion, as far as like someone that's playing in the tournament, I like 1-day 3 gamers.
Yeah.
A lot better. I for something about them, I think they're more competitive. You have a smaller gaming pool to compete with. Every game matters a little bit. I mean, I think some people take their foot off the gas, whether it's exhaustion or whatever it might be in a 5-game tournament.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you on a weird fact, what I like about it specifically. A lot of people in the audience probably aren't going to be able to relate to this, specifically because Dustin knows, after a hard workout, when you're going through that healing phase, that's a great feeling. So at the end of an RTT, when your brain is just swamped,
right,
and you're putting so much mental power into it, it feels like a brain drain where it's like, hey, it's a weird thing to explain where it's trying to where your thoughts are slowly coming back and you're just wiped.
Right.
But then if you gotta wake up and do it, you don't have a recovery. If you gotta wake up and do it again the next
Correct.
day.
Yes.
So it's a weird because your brain, like any other muscle. And actually, an interesting fact was they nothing to do with tabletop gaming, but with chess players, especially high level chess players, who eat like garbage, mind you, most of the time. They did this crazy study a couple of years ago I was reading about where these guys, even tournaments, like you're talking eating like Big Macs and Whoppers and just garbage food, they were still losing weight during the tournaments. They couldn't figure out why, and they figured what it came down to is the mental capacity that was required for firing on all cylinders was using up so many calories. They were burning through anything they eat, and they were literally losing weight. That's kind of what it feels like doing this. Now, chess is an extremely hard game, as is this.
Right.
This is basically a 4D chess. Because
Sure.
now you have to account for movement, you have to account for strategy, battle tactics, your opponent. You're thinking of a dozen different things as these things are moving across the board, and you're playing the probability game in your mind on dice rolls.
Exactly.
So it's just a brain drain trying to play this game. And that's what I enjoy about it. It's just that, like I said, it's like the working a muscle you don't typically get to work.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Game 4, day 2, that's usually a big deciding factor.
Sure.
And it makes sense why, because you just were running on all cylinders for the first 3 games, and now you got game 4, and it's like, usually you probably didn't get enough sleep, the previous day, so.
Well, again, because you're competitively playing typically for 3 hours at a crack.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, here's a half hour for lunch. You take lunch and you're right back at it again. And it's not like work where I think they say the average person actually only works like 4 to 5 hours in a day.
Yeah, it's 6 point. Your best employee is 6.75 out of 8.
Right. Yeah. So that being said, most people are solely focused for the 9 hours or so you're playing.
Right. But I think too, you're in an RTT. If you're playing, a 1-day 3 game, up to 26, competitors. I think when you play in that kind of a thing, you're also going to find your opponent pool is very similar skilled. Yeah. I think you're getting a more evenly keeled games. I don't know. There's something about RTTs that I do like better than a GT, and I don't. Again, I like what a GT does for a charity tournament like ours. I like how it brings in more money for the charity, but as a player, I could be the king of the 3-rounder forever. I love RTTs more than a GT.
Please, sir, you first.
But I like it because you're also supporting.
You're talking about an RTT.
RTT, yeah.
Yeah.
You're supporting the store.
Oh, sure.
And also.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, you're supporting the store that you're playing at, and also, for me it was nice because Cataclysm, they had this new gaming room. They have shelves and shelves of terrain and stuff to set up tables, and it was just a nice gaming space, and so one of my pet peeves when I play Age of Sigmar and I go to a tournament, and thankfully Brawl in the Hall we don't have this problem, but like there have been some tournaments I've been to where there's just not enough space outside of the mat, because it's like I gotta put my dice tray, I gotta put my books, I gotta put all my bags of dice and all my stuff, and that's one of those things that drives me nuts when I'm in a tournament, because it's like, oh great, now I have to like put my dice partially onto the
so there was ample space.
There's ample space.
Well, some of them they had the little fold-out tables. They had nice, rolly, comfy chairs. Dude, the chairs were like captain's chairs.
The chairs were like
kidding.
rolling captain's chairs.
Like, I didn't take any pictures of my army. I should have taken pictures of the chairs.
Right.
Yeah.
So
spoiled. That's what that is. Spoiled.
Yeah. You guys were also telling me that I think Bill, you were telling me this that for the terrain that was set up, They had it on like
the nice thing is they had
each
literally-
game they reset the terrain, but it was on a screen, like almost like a.
I mean, every battle plan will have that layout, but it was just easier instead of having to squint and look at it in the book. You just turn around, it was right there on the projector. They also had the timer right up there, but it's like, hey, here's where the terrain goes, and it's like, oh, all right, set it up, and you're done. And also, just very very little things, They had mats that were covering the whole table, which is a 4x8 table, but then they had these little cutouts.
They had hand cutout strips to size it for
to
you.
size
Oh,
it
nice.
down to Age of Sigmar.
The actual AOS
Perfect.
size.
Which
Okay,
went
good.
Not taped down, like literally nice.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Neoprene
Neoprene.
mats.
Yeah, little
that
neoprene
actually
mats.
tied it all off, which was nice.
It was great.
All right.
So it was a very good experience, just as far as tournaments go.
Right.
It was very, very low stress.
But see, that's what I like about RTTs as well. You're still getting a competitive game,
Yes.
but you're not in a pressure cooker.
Correct.
That I think is just there's something about a GT that auto brings in a pressure cooker. I don't know why. I don't know if people
It's
get in their
because you want
heads.
to make it to day 2.
Right.
And if day 1 doesn't go well, what's the point of day 2? So there's
Well-
a lot of pressure to make it to day 2.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And fuck yeah, Kenny. Nobbler's for life. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. The greatest unit in the game. I used to really say that Gore, Beastman Gore were the greatest pound for pound unit.
Dude, right now, it's right when they're having their day in the sun. They're going away in June. Man, the best of Gores put in some effing work.
All right, so
in
you
my
played your
army.
Beast of Chaos, the
You
beloved
know
Beast of
damn
Chaos.
Well, I did.
All right, so who's your so give us a 5,000-foot nickel tour. Your first
Dude, the best
opponent.
of Gores cut down Kragnos. The best of Gores.
All right, so
cut
who was
down
game
the
one?
Giants.
Game one,
I
RTT.
played Sons of Behemoth. And
Oh,
he
okay.
had Kragnos and all the sons.
Aha. So he was running basically like 4 megas. Kragnos and 3 megas.
3 babies, a Kragnos, and then 2 other big guys.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting.
So, but the best of Gores cut that whole army down. The best of Gores did.
Well, I mean,
And
they're
the only
called
time-
best for a reason.
Right. Best
Dude.
Ugor. Yeah.
Dude, pound for pound, right now, especially with the exploding 5s.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
going to take all out defense. Cool. I'm going to explode the 5s. Oh, by the way, I have 2 reinforced units. That 60 attacks, probably going to be 70 now. Because of the way
Right.
you're rolling. Because now the cool thing is with the prayer, you can get them down. You can add 1 to the wound. All out attack. Now you're hitting on 3s by 2s at 60 attacks. And if they take and they see that, they go, oh, I got to take all out defense.
So what was
Now the
it?
5s explode.
What about that game against Sons of Behemoth? Your game one, and I want to get to your game because you played Daughters, right?
I played Dar's game.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to get to your game one here in a second. So your game one was against Sons, Kragnos. What
Excellent,
you said? 2
excellent,
babies or
excellent.
3 babies?
3.
3 babies.
So, yeah,
And-
excellent opponent, by the way.
Okay.
So, good dude.
Now, was this so? How did you do in that game?
It ended up being really close because, again, I unfortunately, I don't get enough RTTs of practicing. And, again, to the point of a GT versus an RTT, the thing I like about RTTs is, and there you heard a lot, too, a lot of guys like, oh, my wife needs this, I got to do my kids or this or that. A lot of us got families. So the nice thing about RTTs is you get all Sunday stuff.
Right.
Because no matter what, even if you got 2 games on Sunday, you're not getting family time in.
Sure,
So I
that's a good
prefer
point.
the single day because even if it's a sundown Saturday, you still spend.
You know, if you think about it, it's like when you go golfing. You go out with your buddies and you go out there on a Saturday, you go golfing all day, and then
I'd
you're
rather
back
play-
to mow the fucking lawn for the damn
I'd
loved
rather
ones.
play a 9 than an 18 though, because you got a half day, and then you still got a half day with your family.
Right. So, all right. So how did that game go? Your game
So
one.
it ended up being like 38, 35, something
Okay.
like that. It was really close. But because I just missed tactics. The
Right.
whole day I was missing tactics because I kept, I don't get to play the tactics. I know how to function the armies perfectly. But I always forget how to actually do the tactics correctly, which again is,
Right.
at this point, 3/4 of the game.
Luis, bienvenido, vato. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being back in the chats.
Bienvenidos.
We are. That was kind of creepy. It was entertaining but creepy.
Hey, listen. If you don't want to hear soulful singing, give up drinking. Anyways.
All right, keep singing.
No, that being said, though, it's funny in the show. That was the only really annoying part about the tournament.
Okay.
Some guy kept singing like this, and it's like, dude.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna
sloppy bile plug.
Oh, God. Was he drunk?
My life.
Was he drunk or just being an egghead?
It was being an egg.
Oh, got it. Okay. All right.
I believe it was.
My something was like a ripe fart, and it's just like.
Oh, so he was playing Nurgle, but playing the part of
It's one
Sloppity
thing-
Bile
it's one
It was
thing
Piper?
funny
if
the
you
first
sing-
time, and then it was just like.
And then he just kept going.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It's funny if it's at a level for your opponent to hear.
But-
then it's funny.
but he
when
belted
you're,
it so
when
Yeah,
you're-
you know what?
if you're gonna be the Barato and do it to the entire
Yeah.
crowd, it's like, dude.
Yeah, so he's now singing Nurgle opera music for
Yes.
everybody.
Every single round.
All right. So Sons of Behemoth was your first game. Now, how was your opponent? Now, did they do best sports? Did you guys have to pick your best opponent?
No.
No, they did. They
Best
just did
painting.
best painting, and those top three,
Okay.
and then best painting.
All right.
Although the loser raffle ticket was pretty cool.
Yeah. So basically, what was funny is if you lost, you get a raffle ticket.
This was the red ticket you guys
The
were
red
saying?
ticket, yeah.
So it's a red
And
ticket,
so
okay.
that went into a box, and then so the top 4 players would pull a ticket out of the box, and the basically whoever had the most lost tickets would have a higher chance of getting something. They gave out 4 boxes of 4 units of stuff, which was funny because Rob went up there. He was number 4, and he pulled a box for DraftKings.
Nice.
Which is
Nice.
fun. But then my game 3 opponent, because he had 3 tickets, he won 2 times.
Nice. So, but that's the other thing. I mean, you almost have more prize support in an RTT than you do players.
Now,
Yeah.
one thing, the
You
only
know.
thing I would say I want to see, I would like to see in a tournament, is a loser's bracket where you can't use BCP, best coast pairings, specifically for doing it this way, but this would be a fun RTT. The loser has the chance to go up the
Has
loser
the chance to
bracket
make it
and
back
play
up.
for first.
Yeah.
Because this is a dice game.
Yep.
Sometimes you just get screwed. So there can only be a first, second, and third, which
Right.
some people will not like. There won't be a best death, best chaos.
Right.
Only a first, second, and third.
Sure.
But that being said, whoever plays on this side in the winner's bracket and ends up there, that's third, and the loser bracket
Yeah.
has a chance between first and second.
Well, that's, I like that.
I would like to do that one time. I think that'd be fun. 'cause
See
you
how
could
it
have-
works, yeah.
You can
Maybe we'll think about, like, I was just talking to Sean earlier about this. He called me up, earlier this evening, and we were talking a little bit about like a spring tournament or something like that. Maybe like a little RTT or something like that to replace November Nightmare that never happened.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's something like that.
Maybe it's something because then again that would be different. Because then again you got a lot of these guys who they lose their steam the minute they lose their first game. Like,
Oh yeah, right.
But if you say, hey, you go, you got two
now
brackets
you're in
going
the
up.
loser's bracket.
You're
Yeah.
in the losers bracket now. You got a chance to come back.
I still think the way we do the last place is the best.
The spork.
The wooden spork and the shit
Which
shovel.
is funny. The
Yeah, they mentioned
shop
that
owner,
earlier,
he's
yeah.
like, yeah, sorry, there's no spork.
He was very specific
Or,
about
I
that.
don't know if he said spork. He said there's no spoon. Or
Yeah, he
or
said,
something
he
like
goes, yeah, I think he said something about the rat.
Yeah,
No,
there's no
rattle's
wooden
not as
spoon.
cool as the spoon, but
The wooden
That was
spork.
about-
Yeah.
It was funny you said that because I was about to say, hey, is there a spork? Like,
Right, right. But the spork will be back for actually all the tournaments. So Brawl in the Hall is going to be AOS, Old World, and 40K this year.
oh wow.
Yeah, so
All right.
it's going to be
Hey.
Brawl in the Hall. Go to Best Coast Pairings, look it up. Brawl in the Hall. More details to come on that one. It's going to be in June. All right, so game 1, Dustin. Your game 1. Daughters game against who?
Skaven.
Skaven.
Hey, we just talked about Skaven.
We just go back to our show last week, folks. We just talked about them rat bastards.
Which was really, really funny because
Do they have rattling guns and gnaw holes and all that kind of stuff?
yeah.
All right.
So
I know.
holes taste like no
holes. So it was Clan Molder. So he had 6 rat ogres, like 4 of the Doom Scythe things.
Those Doomsday things are really cool.
Yeah. He had it was only 6 rattling guns. And I think 2 units of clan rats.
That's very low rattling gun count for
Yeah,
in typical
Instead
Skaven
of,
lists.
like 9 or
You don't
something.
see a lot. Yeah, 9. I mean, yeah.
So, but he definitely pulled the tactic that we talked about. Is all right. I'm gonna put a null hole on your flank here, and
We talked about that.
And what was really, really funny is like almost everything he did, I wasn't surprised by. But my dice
it's
rolling
almost
was,
an unfair advantage that we went and did a deep dive
My-
the week before.
my dice rolling was pretty abysmal. Although like
Your
his
dice roll is 50-50,
I
dude.
know,
But this time it sucked.
the amount of ones I rolled when chanting prayers.
So we got a couple of new people that just joined us, so I got to throw this out there. If you guys haven't heard about Dustin's dice roll, it's the weirdest thing you've ever witnessed.
It's either hot or cold.
I'm willing to bet he hasn't rolled a 3 or 4 in the history that he's been a gamer. I don't think you've ever done it. This guy will roll 1s and 2s and 4s and 5s and 6s. I don't think you've ever in your life rolled a single 3 or a 4, have you?
Well, okay,
Yeah, there's no
that's
need for
not
a
true,
D3
but
with Dustin. You just give him a high-low.
It's an exaggeration, Dustin.
Yes.
Gee, would you stop making us all look bad? Jesus, quick, tell a dirty joke to him. Get him blushing or something.
So when you flip the legs behind your head,
How do you know a girl likes you? Her heels go behind her ears.
She goes clickety clack. We're going home, baby. This wizard's up for a ride.
Yeah. And Luis on the chat was like, "Yeah, it's a 1 or a 6." Yeah, I mean, but Luis, that's exactly what Dustin does, and it's the craziest thing. I saw you roll. What was it? 20 dice. I was at the table next to you, and literally he rolled them. Blam. I think it was 10 of them were 1s, and the other 10 were 5s and 6s. And I was like, there you have it. That right there. I think I took a picture. I think I took a picture of that.
And then I rolled again, and it was the same thing.
Yeah. So okay, go ahead. So your dice roll was Dustin-esque.
Yeah, I have never failed more prayer chants. Like, it took me 3 turns to get one.
But even with building up your prayers, you still failed.
Well, when you roll a 1, you lose D3.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and
right.
One of my hags was drunk off the blood in her cup.
You gotta unga bunga those rolls, bro.
Yeah, so it was ridiculous. Anyways, though, like it was a great game. I only lost by 2 points, so it was right. I mean, we ran out of time. We only made it to the end of battle round 3, but only lost by 2 points. It was a very, very close game.
Right.
The shooting was rough, but then also, I mean, let me tell you, when it's only 4s and 4s, all right, he rolled a couple times and had like 60 shots, and then he would make 10 wounds. So, like, sure, yeah, all right, 2d6 shots from 6 guys, but then when you're hitting 4s and 4s, you're not going to make everything. So the saving grace there was, yeah, he's throwing buckets of dice, but he wasn't making a lot of wounds. So
yeah. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing about this game. We always say that you can have the best knowledge of your army, but the only things you really control, and we learn this more and more in a tournament, is the setup and the movement. The minute you put dice in your hands, it's anybody's game. Anything can happen.
The other thing, what we talked about last week, Hell Pit Abomination. He had one.
Son of a bitch! You did tell me that.
Yeah.
I
was happy to see a Hell Pit Abomination.
I literally just said I have zero. You killed it.
Yep.
How quickly?
Pretty quickly.
Okay, well then. But I'll say this, and this is just me being a nostalgic old fucking gamer.
After the murder.
After he murdered half my snake unit, because
was it with the Hell Pit?
Hell Pit Abomination has red 3.
Well, yeah, I mean,
so does Pat after 4 beers.
Exactly. You no good son of a bitch. But
yeah, it didn't explode and it didn't come back. It just died. So that was good.
Yeah.
On my part.
Okay,
but,
I have respect for this Skaven player that actually ran. I don't think you really can truly say.
Those Klein Molder, so he has the chance to jazz it up.
Yeah. Okay, great. But I don't think you're a true Skaven player if you're not running at least one Hell Pit Abomination. Yeah. Hey, Steve. Get the wax out of your fucking ears and redo your list.
I don't think you're a true Skaven player if you don't smell like dirty cheese.
There you go. Yeah. Exactly. But I'm serious. I don't think you're an actual Skaven player if you don't have one of those things. Regardless of the stats or how well it does or doesn't do.
Dirty rat.
Whoa! Look at that dirty rat. Wait a minute. I got to turn her camera on. She didn't join us in time, so I got to get everything worked out for her because. She showed up late. You got to come over here and say hi because I'm not able to get your camera on right away.
I mean, we can go to commercial and turn it on.
We can go to commercial and turn it on. Should we go to commercial and turn it on and say hi?
No, I look good. Hi!
She just showed up.
No, I look good. I
look good.
Hey there.
We're talking tournaments today.
I know. I'm so excited. I have so many questions.
Okay, cool.
Let's go.
All right. Well, you just got a compliment, Camille, right in the chat. She said, "I joined just at the right time." It seems.
Nice.
That was Cloud Coldstone. That was kind of a cool.
Cloud Coldstone.
Cloud Coldstone. All right, we're gonna get her damn camera. Now that she showed up, we're gonna get the camera and everything done up, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Thunderdome. Tournament. The Age of Sigmar tournaments. A battlefield of strategy, honor, and yes, a little bit of nerve. Where legends are forged in the crucible of competition and the fate of the mortal realms. Well, maybe not the entire mortal realms, but definitely bragging rights for the next month or so hang in the balance. But before you charge headlong into the fray, dear viewer, let's make sure you're prepped for more than just tactical deployment. We're talking about the sacred art of tournament etiquette. Chapter 1. A Cautionary Tale. The Ballad of Short Pants. Short Pants. We all know a Short Pants. They arrive at the tournament, a whirlwind of nervous energy and dice-rolling superstition.
That's impossible. These dice are cursed. Are you kidding me? You're seriously going to pull that?
But the moment the fates turn against them, the whining begins. a bad roll, a questionable maneuver by their opponent. Suddenly the room shrinks, the air grows thick with tension, and everyone's desperately searching for the exit. Don't be a short pants. Embrace the chaos, the unpredictability, the sheer glorious randomness of the dice gods. Remember, every defeat is a chance to learn, every victory a fleeting taste of triumph before the next great challenge, and nothing says sore loser like blaming a chunk of plastic for your tactical blunders. Chapter 2, The Curious Case of Butterbob. And then we have Butterbob. You'll smell him before you see him. A potent aroma of questionable hygiene and last week's gym socks precedes him like a bad omen. He lumbers into battle, a mountain of unwashed laundry and misplaced confidence.
His miniature collection is impressive, sure, but coated in a layer of, well, let's just say it adds a whole new dimension to terrain advantage.
Butterbob lives for the aggressive play, the table-shaking slam attack, the victory cry that leaves everyone within a 5-foot radius feeling a little damp. He's loud, he's proud, and he's completely oblivious to the subtle cues of social decorum.
Please, I implore you, don't be a Butterbob. Shower, use deodorant, and for the love of Sigmar, invest in a miniature carrying case that doesn't double as a biohazard.
Chapter 3. The Tournament Hero, a paragon of etiquette. But fear not, dear viewer, for there is a better way.
Behold the Tournament Hero.
This magnificent individual strides into the tournament hall with confidence and grace, their presence radiating an aura of calm focus and good sportsmanship. They arrive prepared with a well-maintained army, a positive attitude, and perhaps even a selection of delicious non-offensive snacks to share.
Our hero understands that a tournament is more than just a competition. It's a gathering of like-minded individuals, a celebration of shared passion.
They treat their opponents with respect, win or lose, offering a handshake and a genuine good game at the end of each match. They are the embodiment of what it means to be a true champion, both on and off the battlefield. Be like our hero. Chapter 4. The Real Victory. Remember, friends, the true victory lies not just in crushing your enemies, seeing them driven before you and hearing the lamentations of their, well, you get the picture. The real prize is the camaraderie, the shared stories, the memories forged in the fires of epic tabletop battles. Chapter 5. Go forth and roll dice responsibly. So go forth armed with your armies, your dice, and this newfound wisdom. Embrace the spirit of competition, but never at the expense of good sportsmanship. Be the player you'd want to face across the table, the one who elevates the game for everyone involved, and who knows, with a little luck, a lot of skill, and a healthy dose of good hygiene, you might just find yourself hoisting that coveted trophy, a true champion of the mortal realms, or at least you won't be the one everyone avoids making eye contact with, which, let's be honest, is a victory in itself. So there you have it, folks, a crash course in Tournament Etiquette 101. Remember, it's not just about winning or losing, it's about creating a fun, welcoming and, dare I say, environment for everyone involved. Because at the end of the day, we're all here for the same reason. To roll some dice, tell some stories, and maybe, just maybe, escape the mundane for a few glorious hours. So until next time, stay classy, stay strategizing, and may your dice rolls be ever in your favor.
All right, now that Camille is here, we actually start talking about tournaments. But yeah, that was a long commercial. Well, thank God we were able to get her camera and everything all waved to everybody.
So, a poll for the folks at home: hair up or hair down?
Yes.
Shirt on or shirt off?
No.
That's right.
Oh, geez.
Hair up or hair down, folks. Leave that in the chat.
SigmarSingles.com.
SigmarSingles.com.
There you go.
For
Sigmar
price,
Singles.
You cannot see Camille, but a sultry elf.
Coming out of the novel.
Coming out of the novel.
So, Camille, we were talking about tournaments and, general tournament play. We kind of bitched about Adepticon a little bit. These guys are going through the RTT that they were just at over the weekend.
Okay. Cool.
And we are just, so feel free to jump in and ask questions and, all that other kind of stuff.
When is the next one?
Well,
That we're
at
going to.
Cataclysm, I guess there's one in January, but are you going to be ready?
It's a GT in January.
That's a GT? Two-day? Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think it's the 25th.
Because we got Adepticon in March, but that's all the Milwaukee. Bleh.
Yeah. Nah.
So
it is in fact 25th of January.
So before we get into your guys'
I'm not gonna play that one.
Cataclysm, Chesney Park, 25th.
Yeah,
GT.
I don't know. I'm not going to do the GT up there, but I do love a good RTT. But let me ask you this: before we get into your guys' game 2, that I want to hear about, was there a big focus on particular type lists? Like, in other words, sometimes at RTTs, you see a heavy focus on a particular build or a particular army list. Did you guys experience, or did you guys play diverse in your 3 games? Did you play three different armies?
So I would say it'll be interesting. I'll touch on my second game because that was against Zeech. I felt like both the Skaven player and the Zeech player were absolutely doing what we've been talking about on the show, is having a list that can get you those battle tactics. And were not very one-dimensional.
Okay.
Like the Skaven list and the Zeech list. I mean, Zeech doing Zeech things, but like they both had, they're both the 3 pillars of stand on shit, get to shit, kill shit.
Right.
So I felt like both of those 2 were definitely well-rounded. My third game was against Fire Slayers, so we were just crashing into each other and killing it.
Right on.
So there was that. But I felt like my first 2 opponents had very well-rounded lists that could handle
all right,
different things.
So let's get into this. So your game 2 then.
Wait, question.
Go ahead.
Did you guys play more, like different opponents, or did you guys end up playing the group? How was this one?
Oh yeah.
So my first, but for me it was Club Fratricide.
Okay.
The second and third game, unfortunately.
Oh really?
Okay.
I ended up playing Rob. Second game.
How many of the Grimdark goons were up at this one? I mean, if it's a 20-person RTT, how many were goons?
There was 4 of us.
4 of us.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, 1/5 of the tournament.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, there you go. There you have it.
Got it.
And we didn't do so bad. I mean, Rob was 4th.
He was 4th?
He was
Okay,
the best goon.
Draft was right in the middle. I didn't.
Yeah.
remember what
I think
the
I
score was.
took 8th.
Okay. Oh.
Well, you did.
Rob beat up on me pretty hard.
Yeah.
Okay, that's son of a.
That shit of a bitch.
So all right. So
I heard the venue was nice.
Excellent.
The game store that you could.
recommend it to anybody who's listening.
Yeah, it was very
Cataclysm
nice.
in Chesney Park.
Very
Awesome.
nice place. Yeah.
Okay.
nice, very cool. I love to hear that, man. I love to hear that.
Well, go ahead. Ask your questions. I'm sorry. I think I'm out of.
No,
it.
please jump in, man. Jump in. Do whatever you got to do.
I know.
So let's talk about your game 2.
Yeah.
Daughters of Cain versus who?
Versus Zeech, which the most important thing about game 2 was my opponent's name was also Dustin.
So there couldn't be the room for 2 of you.
Couldn't have 2.
So we did
That
actually
was
play.
a really good part of the
We
tournament.
did actually play to see who was the true Dustin. Unfortunately, I was demoted.
They highlighted
All right,
it up, so
all right.
he became Justin for the rest of the
So
day.
now your name is Jamal.
Yes, Jerome.
Well, so
There you go.
We said
No,
because if we
you're
go-
not doing that name. No.
If we go back, Tyrone over here
Absolutely not.
has to play for his name again.
All right, you do.
Yeah.
You are the nameless bastard.
Great.
So-
I appreciate
He's
that.
the one that name
Watch
shall
your
not be
mouth.
spoken.
That's going on a T-shirt, folks. You can find that at sigmarsingles.com. The nameless bastard.
Bastard. Great.
So,
That's what my mom calls me.
So how was your game against
Isn't
Zeech?
that a Scottish proverb?
The nameless bastard.
So
Forgive thy enemies, but remember the bastard's name.
yes. So
I don't know. That sounds kind of cool, though.
I mean,
Here's what I'll
Scottish
say
or
about-
Irish. So
Go ahead.
Here's what I'll say about Zeech, is it was a pretty standard Zeech list. You had Kairos, Lord Change, it was like 1 unit of pinks, 2 units of blues.
Excellently painted as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Because he played Drafty in the first game, so both of them had the same style of paint where it was just crazy.
Oh, it was...
So it was cool looking at that table.
So, I mean, he went into, like blues and purples, but the thing that made the army stand out was his basing. He did like a bluish purple, like sand with like blue or purple tufts.
Yeah,
I think you
But then
said
he had
that.
a gold rim around the bases, and it just made everything like really, really pop. That was probably my favorite thing.
Okay.
The army was the basing.
I think you sent the
Didn't he
video
win Best
of
Painted
that.
Army,
I
too?
think.
I don't remember who won Best Painted.
I thought it was him, but maybe not.
Yeah.
So how was the
I
That was
game?
really cool.
How was the game against Zeech? So you had game 2, your Zeech, with a lot of magic flying around the board. How did you do combat? I mean, you're playing Daughters of Cain, so,
Yeah,
were you running Morathi or not running Morathi?
I was not running Morathi.
Did you hear that, Camille? He wasn't running Morathi.
Yeah.
I know. I heard
So
him.
I
I'm not
had,
dead.
Typically, he runs a train on Morathi, but not
Yes.
today.
So I had 3 units of 10
Don't
Blood
paint her
Sisters.
white.
I had 1 unit of Bloodstalkers, Bloodwrack Medusa, Iron Scale, 2 Hag Queens, and 2 units of 10 Witches. So I had infantry heavy, and it's tough with Daughters of Cain with 4th edition because I want to have all those heroes, but because of that, in order to do that, I had to have 4 drops.
Got it.
Right.
However, I would say in games where I can actually chant my prayers, having 2 priests is helpful. But Weird Flame, we talked about that when we talked about Zeech. Weird Flame is dangerous because you get that debuff on you, and then
Now you got the right vaccines.
Another little penicillin can't cure it. Boy, don't it?
Yeah, I mean, you get that debuff on you, and okay, so his dice were not that great either. Like he had his pink horrors shooting at.
You said horrors, didn't you?
Yes. He had his pink horrors
The
shooting
horse.
at.
I heard pink and horrors.
Bloodstalkers.
That's how we like them, pink. Sorry,
He had the pink horrors shooting at my Bloodstalkers, and he did 30 something shots, and I only have 5 up save, but he was able to put 1 wound through.
Right.
I got
that's
one of
all
those
he
fights.
needs in the shooting
It
phase.
does sound like you're describing a night out the bar.
I was going to say, on Saturday night, Neil did about 30 shots.
Shooting his Bloodstalkers, we did 30 shots, and bam.
Yes.
I went to bed with a fox and woke up with a monster.
I went to bed at 2 with a 10 and woke up at 10 with a 2.
I swear, gaming sounds like a.
It was very annoying because the only thing that you get that debuff on you, and sure he can only do it once per turn, but then what he does is he does covering fire and he can still inflict it on you.
Got it.
But what's annoying is the only way to get rid of it is to rally or heal.
Sure.
And the only way I can do that in my army is rally, which I had Zealous Orator on my general. So if I do rally a unit, I roll 3 extra dice. So I roll 9 instead of 6.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I did have one point where I rallied a unit, but what's tough is now this unit, just has this debuff, and I'm taking wounds the whole game unless I can heal it. Here's the big thing, which he had, I don't remember the abilities exactly, but he basically had a -2 to hit his Lord of Change.
Okay.
Now, it was only -2 to hit within a 3-inch radius, but it was -1 to hit in a 12-inch radius. And, oh, by the way, if you have Weird Flame on a unit, they're -1 to wound.
Don't we got something on Weird Flame with SigmarSingles.com?
You know it. Welcome to the Weird Flame, where we set up the meetup, you show up and get drunk.
That's it. The Weird Flame. So how did you do?
Weird
So we can get to his game 2. So your game 2, that was it. How did you do?
I mean,
you obviously, because you are the nameless bastard.
Yes.
What was it? What was the score? How did it go?
I mean, I did pretty well. We ran out of time. I'm not a fan of talking through the next 2 turns, but that's what we did.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just fine with ending it, where we ended it. But I think at turn 3, I think I was down by 6 points.
Okay.
So it would have been a major loss anyway, regardless. Sure. We did figure it out just so we could, see realistically what battle tactics we could have gotten, and I surprisingly would have gotten 2 more. But it was just a lot of shooting, constantly taking mortal wounds despite having 6 up and 5 up ward saves because of my inability to make ward saves.
Did you guys talk it out because you were out of time, or because you just kind of felt that it was futile to keep going?
No, we ran out of time.
Okay.
It basically ended, and it's like, all right, what do you think you get here? What do you think you get here? I'm a big fan of just ending it where it ends.
I concur. It should end, unless you're literally running. Like my last game, that's all we did was the guy's rep came around. He's like, "Hey, you got 5 minutes left. End it now." And this turn, I just got to run this next round.
Right.
Yeah. And he's like, "All right, we'll finish up," and that's what we did.
It all depends on
30
how
seconds
the
to
game
fair,
is.
we finished.
Because if you're an experienced player, and you're not being a short pants, you can pretty reasonably say, okay, I would get this. Realistically, I won't get this. Stuff like that.
Got
it. So we're
Right.
being realistic. The big problem with Daughters of Cain is, if I'm not making my ward saves against lots of mortal wounds and stuff, I didn't have a lot of miles left.
Right.
Game
So,
2.
Bill, what about you, man? Your game 2, Beast of Chaos against who?
Stormcast.
All right.
With Rob was running the one with the dragon where you take the Praetors and get the 5-level one.
He had Care's Eye, right?
Care's Eye.
Okay, yeah.
That is a nasty combo.
Yeah, where the more wounds he takes, the more angry he gets.
The more damage he does. So the problem is, like I said, the Bestigors are my best. My deployment was terrible. So I basically bum rushed one side, wiped out 2 of his units or something with my Bulgors and Gorgon, but it was a waste because I was too far down the board to assist the center of my army.
Got it.
So where I could have slid in at a diagonal versus coming hard to the left, I should have done that, played it a little bit safer, but I went for the goal and it didn't pay off.
Right.
So what I should have done, because the Praetors are the absolute key to the way he plays it.
Because are those again? Which
there's only so the Praetors. They basically they add that as long as they're in play, he gets the ward.
I think it was the Liberators you're talking about.
No. So the Praetors had like a spear or something. They're basically a bodyguard.
The spear ones, yeah.
Got it.
But there's only 3 of them. They're 3 wounds apiece.
Oh, the ones with the halberds, yeah.
Yeah. So what I should have done was with my 30 Ungors, rather than try to take out some of his long-range archery, I should have shot the Praetors.
Yes.
And then Doom Bowled my way into the Praetors and sacked them.
Because then doesn't have the...
Because then I could have taken out Care's Eye, or whatever his name is, a lot faster.
Right.
Yep.
The problem is, I'm so used to hard flank deployment because it usually walks.
Yeah.
So because you can't normally get through my front line, but the Care's Eye thing that's really damaging is with the Praetors again. If you have multiple attacks, the Praetors reduce the attacks of all enemies within combat range, and then Care's Eye gets to do it as well.
Yeah.
So with the Bestigors, typically I'm throwing 60 attacks. Now I'm down to 30.
Yeah.
And I can't really buff them.
Yeah.
So unlike, like I said, my first game where I had 20 Bestigors cut down Kragnos in a turn, I couldn't do that with Care's Eye.
Right. So that was a little rougher game.
I'm doing a third of the attacks.
30 of the attacks. Yeah.
So now, but again though, because like I said, because I run the Bulgors, I should have actually done it the exact opposite. Because the Bulgors do impact hits. They do mortals right from the get-go. So I could have done anywhere between 6 and 10.
You're running a unit of 6 of them, right?
Unit of 6, Doombolt, and the Gorgon. The thing is, the Gorgon could potentially swallow Praetor. So Care's Eye has extreme advantage against because of the tail swipe against anything with multitude of units.
Yeah.
So that was part of the problem. I used to run the Bestigors in, but because of the way Care's Eye is, and again, it's my fault because of the limited amount of play that I have.
Yeah.
Right.
If I'd known that, I would have exactly switched up my tactics. I would have done significantly better.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And these are things you're going to learn, Camille, when you start playing tournaments, because I really think, the more RTTs you have under your belt, the better experience you're going to have with a GT. And that's kind of what I was trying to get at earlier. I mean, you weren't here. You were out being beautiful somewhere and not here with us. But
he doesn't say stuff like that to me or Dustin.
I'm a lot more sultry with these guys.
Yeah.
I don't say anything like that with a live mic with you, man. You dirty flirt.
Hey, YouTube, back on track.
He was. I'm
getting jealous.
What's the phrase? He's a jealous little bitch when he gets. What is it? He's
catty
little bitch when he's jealous. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay, so question: What is something you learned this tournament that you didn't know about 4th edition and your armies?
So actually,
real important. I saw in your game too, but you go first.
So. This was very interesting. I've never had this come up. So, faction terrain, specifically enemy faction terrain. Usually, you just can kind of ignore it unless you're purposely charging it to destroy it or something like that.
Okay.
That's true until you enter the combat phase. Once you enter the combat phase, it now has the 3-inch engagement range, which. That never occurred to me.
So you have to attack it.
So you have to
attack it. Yeah,
well, and
right.
At first, my opponent's like, hey, just so you know, this isn't really, going to be a detriment to you. You have to attack that. I'm like, really? And, we were going to call the judge over, but then I found it on the page. I don't remember what page. Where it's like, faction terrain in the combat phase counts as a hostile model.
Right. So if you're within combat range, you got to attack it.
You have to attack it. And
That's
I'm like,
good to know.
Because in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, that's just going to let you redeploy it. But then also, I do want to destroy it at the same time.
Right.
So it's
and
kind of like,
did he ever bring it back?
Well, eventually, again, start of the battle round. But that never occurred to me. It's like
that's an interesting advantage for Skaven then. Well, because when all holes come back, you can almost use them like how people use the manifestations to block out units.
Yeah.
You could do if you don't really need the movement per se with the novels. You can do it with novels.
Well, to his credit, I wanted to kill it anyway. but mainly because I forgot to attack with the unit over here. It's like, hey, you're in an engagement range over there. You have to fight. And I'm like, really? It's a terrain piece. It was like, yeah, but it's hostile. I'm like, so that was something that I had never have had come up before, and that was very, very interesting. It's same with manifestations. You basically only have to worry about their engagement range,
right,
in the combat phase. Otherwise, you just kind of ignore them.
Nice.
Well, I asked a good question.
Yeah,
How about
you did.
It
You did.
So
And
the terrain for me was, we used to be able, like, for instance, 3 inches tall, 6 across, you move up and over. You don't do that anymore.
Right.
If it's over an inch, no crossing.
Right.
Okay.
Period. No setting up on it, no crossing, nothing. I didn't know that.
Unless you have the fly keyword or something like that. But.
Well, was it ruins or anything, or was it just regular?
The way
terrain?
Rob explained it to me afterwards was anything.
Really?
Anything over an inch. There's no landing on it, none of that stuff, because it's considered impassable or something
Right.
like that. So even if it's a flat temple, that's it's called a big 6-inch or 6x6 base or something, cannot land on it.
Right.
Cannot go over it.
I think
You
that's
gotta go
for
around
ruins. Ruins, you can't end your movement.
We'll leave that in the comments, guys. If you guys know which one it is, let us know. Let us know. But we want to hear about
That's
Game 3, but
really
we're going to be right back after
I'm
this.
sorry for interrupting.
I bet you didn't know that watching paint dry could be more thrilling than this. Meet Slaphead and Booger Boy, the dynamic duo that puts the meh in commentary. These two are so clueless they make your grandma's knitting club sound like a rock concert. Need a distraction during a prostate exam? These guys have got you covered. Slaphead's got the IQ of a potato and Booger Boy's humor, well, let's just say a knock-knock joke would be too advanced. Their passion, it's like watching water boil, except the water's not even room temperature. So if you're looking for a surefire way to catch some Z's or just need background noise that makes you appreciate silence, tune in to Slaphead and Booger Boy. Because hey, someone's got to be the worst. Voiceover hook, subscribe now or don't. We really don't care.
All right, we're coming to the end of our tournament talk here, but we got Game 3 to talk about at this RTT that these two fellas played up at Cataclysm Games. So, Bill, Game 3, man, give us the high-low of it.
I did have to play clubmates and fratricide ensued. But that being said, it was an excellent game. I got to play a Legion of the First Prince against Mr. Drafty himself.
There you go.
The Prince himself.
There you go.
And it was an excellent game, but the Bestigors, pound for pound, that was one of the things that really shocked Mike, per se, was the fact that, for instance, he ran a 20 block of Bloodletters, which theoretically are very similar in the sense of Bestigors. Like, he can bring back 3 of them as long as they're in combat. Very cool feature. That being said, though, in my opinion, especially with the abilities that you use off board or can within 12, I don't know why I can't think of what they're called right now, for the hero, the Bestigor, for the Beast of Chaos heroes. Rituals of Ruin.
Rituals of Ruin, right.
Rituals of Ruin just make the Bestigors that much better. So when you add the extra +1 to wound and with all attack, you got, you can hit by 3x2s, and with the exploding 5s, if they take all defense, they're just slightly better for the exact same points.
Sure.
So that's really what kind of ruined the game for him, was I was able to block out his stuff that got the extra rending against infantry with the Goron, and then I was running the Bulgors on the other side, and then the Bestigors could just sit and take it and fling it back 10 times again.
Oh yeah, Bestigors were funny. I've never I never, as a Beast Chaos player myself, I never ran a lot of them. I was heavy Gore and Bulgor, which now that I look at how you're playing them, I wonder what it would have been. They were.
There's just so many advantages. Like right now, they got the -1 to wound when you're shooting at them.
Yeah.
So ferocious advance. It's just on the war scroll. So if you could ally, if you could ally them in any Chaos army, it would be worth it to take a block of
I can't believe that they got rid of that army. It blows my mind that that they've been moved to Legends. But oh well, we've lamented on that way too much.
We've beaten that horse several times.
Yeah, into Elmer's glue. So game 3, you got your game 3. How did it go? Who'd you play against?
So I played against Fire Slayers. Pretty typical list, I would say. He had like the big beat stick Magmadroth, and then like the priest Magmadroth. He had like +2 to chanting because he had the pizza oven. And,
sure.
He had like 20. He had like a 20 block of, I don't know what, Grimwrath Berserkers, I think, and then he had the unit with like the bigger axes that that do like 2 damage. It was, and the way our terrain ended up, it was basically an urban setting, which was cool because we actually had like streets. And I had this awesome choke point where I just had my snakes right there, like, shooting right down the street at them.
Right.
But Yeah, like it was very, very good. Because he went first, and he did. I think he did take the center. And so, what was interesting is I didn't have an easy. The way the deployment zone was, I didn't have an easy take the flanks or
Sure.
the center. So I actually had to do. I think. Do not waver, where you attack 2 times, you can't lose a unit.
Right.
So I had to keep my witch elves back because I couldn't have them die, but a unit of 10 snakes could survive or counterattack.
Right.
And so I went in and punched, and there was a place of power nearby, so I actually was able to cast Mind Razor
Wow.
on a 7.
Wow.
Normally it's on an 8. So I blended half of the unit in one combat phase, and then I did all-out slaughter, where I can attack again and kill the rest of the unit.
Nice. Nice.
And from there, he was on the back foot, and so I pushed my advantage. It was still tough because Fire Slayers are no slouch.
Well, I thought it was interesting that you got to play a Fire Slayer army. You don't see a lot of them on the board.
You don't see a lot of them. Honestly, I mean, and I.
What about Slaves of Darkness? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I think.
What about Slaves of Darkness with the players running the new book?
I think there are only 1 or 2 Slaves of Darkness, and Mike was one of them.
Okay. And was Mike running the new book?
He was running Legion of the First Prince.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But no, like Fire Slayers definitely. The whole thing of Fire Slayers are the runes that give you the whole army an effect, and then if you cast or chant them at the higher version, they get an extra effect. So there's one where it's like, oh yeah, -1 to wound, +1 to save, additional rend, crit mortal, like army wide.
Right.
And if you use them at the right time, that's tough. But yeah, I was able to prevail in that third game. So.
Nice. Well, that's it, man. Good conversation on tournaments.
Guys. Yeah. Good
It was a lot of fun.
Good for
Once
you.
again,
I'm sad we missed
Cataclysm
it.
Games at Chesney Park.
Yeah.
Right.
Place. Check it out.
Right. And Camille, we can't wait to hear about your tournament escapades someday, man. We gotta get.
It's on my goal list for 2025 for sure. Maybe summer of 2025.
Nice. All right. Cool.
6
Well, guys,
months.
thank you so much for joining us tonight. Don't forget to like and subscribe the show so you get
So you see me more.
Yeah.
you get to see more Camille with her hair up or hair down. We're not sure. And
no hair. I'm shaving.
And we're not going to be on next week because Tuesday is Christmas Eve.
Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everyone, and happy holidays to you.
Everybody.
You guys. There you go. And
drink a lot.
Yes, I recommend you start drinking heavily.
I will.
I know that.
Sigmar.
On the first day of Sigmar, my true.
All right, guys.
My true walk age to me.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
A nobbler, and a pear tree.
That'd be the best fucking pear tree ever, man.
Like a magpie.
Nobblers.
Bye, guys.
All the pears are rotten. They throw them at you.
You
Have
shut
a
up,
great
you son.
night.
All right, guys.
Very well, folks.
Good night. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. We won't be back next Tuesday.
SigmarSingles.com.
SigmarSingles.com.
Arriva Donkey.
Grimdark Live would like to thank you for slumming it through another show with us for all things dice, dragons, demons, and a dwarf in the Warhammer worlds. We'll be back again real soon, so until then, roll them dice, fun and fair, and don't be a frickin' short pants. You can get your Grimdark Live fix on our live show or catch us on our Grimdark Live podcast. Never fear, gang. There'll be more great content from Grimdark Live coming to you each and every week. So stay tuned and stay grim, all you dice-chucking, glue-sniffing gamer goons. You're all awesome.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue.
Remember to embrace the main message here on Grimdark Live, and that's a social contract we have between gamers and the commitment we have to each other in this community. We're only as good as our last game. Check us out at grimdarklive.com, and don't forget to subscribe, follow, and recommend Grimdark Live to your friends. So long, Grimdark Goons. Until next time, may the dice gods bless you and your sweaty palms. Bye.